Get this show on the road. Hi, good morning, Camarillo seniors. We have another episode here today with our producer Bob Allen from kdtv.com, and our guest is Sandi Moore, who has written a book, and things are starting to happen and pop for her. She's well, I guess I should let her tell you a little bit about it. It's an exciting process when you start to see the book heading into the horizon there. Tell us a little bit about the book. What's the title and what it's about?
Well, this is the book. Bowie, why do I have an okay up on top of the camera?
I
Do you
have
know
no
why?
idea. You're on, so go ahead and keep talking. I see it
Okay.
says Linked Lives.
Yes. Linked Lives is a book that I wrote during COVID. I started researching this book about around 2004. And it was a thought that I had about a year before that. And when I started researching, I didn't think it was going to take me as long as it did. But back then, it wasn't just push a button and all the information would just flutter out at you. It's a long process when you're doing it by, what is it
By
they
hand.
call it? Yeah, well, by hand, yeah. Um, um, it's film on rolls of the newspaper articles.
Uh-huh.
And you have to sort through everything to be able to find what you want. So in 2004, my daughter passed away. She was helping me to do the research, and that kind of put a halt for me. I just felt like I'd probably never have another creative brain in my body. So I put everything into a book and like an album and just put it away. And when COVID hit, I thought to myself, good golly, what in the world am I going to do with this time I have on my hands? And I thought, oh, okay, I'll go in my closet. I haven't cleaned out my closet in probably 5 years. So I started taking everything out of the closet, and this album plopped on my head, knocked me off of my step stool. And I thought, what in the heck was that? And I got up from the floor and I looked around and I see this book that I had started with my research. It was just all of the things that I had found about this person I wanted to write the book about. And I kind of said, okay, kid, I'll get on it. This will be something I can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I started writing. I had written maybe 10 or 15 pages before, and before I put it away. And so I began writing, and I had written it in my head probably 500 times.
Yeah, a zillion times. Yeah.
Right. And so I started writing. And then you get writer's block no matter how prepared you are. And I walked out into the hallway, and my neighbor was out there kind of looking forlorn, and so was I. And she said, well, what are you doing with your time? And I said, I'm writing a book I've been meaning to write for a long time. She looked at me really strange and she said, do you need any help? And I thought to myself, help? Can you read my mind? And I said, well, what kind of help would you have? And she said, well, I was an English major in college. I went back into my apartment. I grabbed all the papers that I had just written, brought them to her, and handed them to her and said, "Here, you can edit this." "Oh, goody," she said. So she went back into her apartment about, I don't know, it seemed like 20 minutes, but it was probably 2 hours later. She had all of the papers I had given her. They were all not scratched up, but
Noted.
comma
Yeah.
here, period here, quotation marks here. It was wonderful. It was just an absolute delight to be able to work with her. And we got through COVID together. So the
Oh,
book is about a person that lived in Oxnard in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. She was very well known, very much appreciated and admired, even though her business was on the shady side. This was um, during Prohibition and World War II, and she ran a brothel.
oh
Yeah,
my goodness. In Oxnard?
yes.
Oh, wow.
7th and B, if you know where that is. You know where Heritage Square is now.
Yes.
It was like across the street and on the other block on the corner. And she had worked for all of the founding families of Oxnard, the McGraths, the Donlins, the Blackstocks, all of these people. She had worked in their homes. And then she branched out basically on her own and bought this corner lot. And she started it out as a boarding house, basically. It had several rooms upstairs, and it was kind of she had geraniums planted outside in her planter boxes. And you'd see these little old ladies coming to her brothel because she was an exceptional cook. She was known for cooking. And people would come up to her house and ask for a particular recipe that she'd provide for them. Um, and she was just a really generous, outgoing, loving, well coiffed human being. And
Wait,
it,
wait, wait. By well coiffed, do you mean she had a great hairdo?
yeah, she,
Really? Oh, that's fabulous.
she wore a lot of outlandish wigs.
Oh,
The red one is supposedly was her favorite wig. Um, but she had a lot of gratitude for people and gave a lot of money to different organizations. She would help anybody. She was known to, well, this one part of the book was where this young man had been riding his bike, got hit by a car, and it happened sort of close to her place. She came running out to help him and bring the bike in and everything. And he was, I think, delivering papers, if I recall correctly. She went out and bought him a brand new bike so he could continue with his paper route. That's just the kind of person she was. Everybody loved her. And then she would go into these ladies' homes and cook dinners for them. And if she saw a dress of some sort that she liked, she would talk them out of it and have a seamstress fit it to her body instead of the person that she talked it out of. And she bought about $50,000 worth of war bonds. If you can imagine that, it'd be about $1 million now if you calculated it that way. So anyway, one evening there was a soldier that reported to the base, the Navy base here in Hueneme, that he had gotten a venereal disease from one of the ladies that he had had relations with. And he reported it, and someone, I guess, reported it to the police also. I don't think it was her. But anyway, they decided to round up all of the girls, and including her, and do a medical exam to see who it was that might have given one of the soldiers a venereal disease. And even though Lucy was adamant that she only ran the brothel, she didn't participate in the activities, they still insisted on examining her. So everybody was rounded up in a van, I guess, or goose cow or whatever it was,
Yeah.
and took all of them to be examined, including Lucy. And they found out that Lucy was not a female.
Ooh. Ooh. Quite a twist.
She had lived her entire life as a female. No one ever questioned her. They just kind of looked at her like she was a unique and unusual person. I forgot to mention Lucy was Black.
Wow.
And when she was young, her parents took her to a doctor. And this doctor said, it would appear that Lucy would prefer to be a girl. If he wants to be a girl, let her be a girl. And they sent her home. Her father fashioned a ponytail for her to wear. And she had several brothers and sisters. And she would never go outside to play with the boys. She always wanted to be next to her mother and cooking and cleaning and learning all of the techniques of baking and making unusual cakes and cookies and pies. She even won lots of prizes.
Let me ask you this. Did you get all this information from the microfiche that you were in the library?
Microfiche, that's what I was trying to remember the word. Yes. Yes,
So
I did. Pretty much.
So is this a real biographical historical book? Or is it
yes.
is it a fiction? I mean, a historical fiction? Or how are you writing that? Or is it more like reporting, or are you going through her early years into her later years?
The book starts out with her picture.
Oh, that's wonderful. Wow.
And
big woman.
I began the book at the wedding that she went through. She was married to a soldier, and they performed the ceremony as husband and wife.
Wow.
And she claimed to be a woman her entire life. So no one questioned her. Nothing ever happened until they understood that she hadn't registered for the draft. Even though she was a male, she had never registered for the draft. So they also arrested her for perjury because she said she was a woman on the marriage certificate.
Oh my golly.
They also found out that she had been receiving allotment checks from the husband as a valid wife. So she got herself in a whole lot of trouble.
Wow, what a pickle.
Yes.
So
And
no, I understand you've got, because writing a book is a massive,
project.
yeah, it really is. And not to mention editing, which I've done a little bit as a teacher at Calabasas, but the finding a someone who will market it, is really another thing. A lot of artists dropped right there with the business section. They can't handle the rest of that. Finding that stuff is a whole nother kettle of worms. And somebody, is it Sean? I don't know his last name, begins with McGilly.
Something.
Yeah, McGillicksy
I
or
can't
something.
pronounce
Anyway,
it.
third floor, nice man
Yes.
from Nova Scotia. He's
Yes.
helping you.
Well,
And how is that happening? How did he find out about it?
we've talked in the hallway several times, and
Oh,
I told him about the book, and he said, "Oh, that sounds interesting." And pretty soon, before I knew it, he had the book, showing me the book, and he had highlighted the book, all the paragraphs that struck him as very interesting. And he said, she was quite the person. Everyone related to her as a female because everyone just accepted her as a female. She did female types of things, and so everybody just accepted the fact that she was a woman.
yeah. Well, now did he find not a producer? Did he find a publishing house for you, or what?
Well, the book has been published. This book that I wrote has been published.
And what was the publishing house for that, for our viewers to know where to get it?
Amazon.
Did Amazon publish it though?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know they had a publishing department. Okay.
Definitely. That's
Great.
so wonderful. Some books are better than others. However, if you go on the website under Amazon and look for either my name or Linked Lives, you can find the book. And anybody that has taken the time to review the book has given it 5 stars.
Oh, wonderful news. Oh, that's great. Huh. Wow. Maybe it'll get made into a movie. That would be far out, especially in today's market, with all the woke stuff that's going on and the transgender stuff, that would be a fun movie to see. I don't want to give it away. How does it end? I mean, after she got her inspection, shall we say, did she go to jail, or what kind of happened? I don't want to give too much of the book away, but
she did go to jail.
oh.
Her and her husband did go to jail. That information is all in my research, and anybody that wants to look at it, they can read through the entire book. Here's the album.
Oh my gosh, your manuscript? Is that your manuscript?
No, this is all of the documentation.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's not just about Lucy. This book is not just about Lucy. This is a, how would you call it? It's a true story, but it also has the life of another family. Back here in the back, it says Linked. This is from people that read it. Linked Lives tells a gripping tale of strength, perseverance, and love. Set in a time of intolerance and unacceptance, the author grabs and holds the reader's attention with riveting details while shining a light on a taboo of the time. Linked Lives is a must read for anyone interested in personal growth and reflecting on the human condition.
Well, that's a nice write-up. Who was that by?
Stacy Ayub,
Stacy Ayub. Well, it's quite a
the
history for
former sheriff's wife,
Oh, wow.
Bill Ayub.
Wonderful. And have you got a Library of Congress number and everything? Is it in the
Uh-huh.
Library of Congress?
Yep, there's the
Wonderful.
ISN number. And my card has a QR code on the back. Anybody that, oh, I'm going the wrong way all the time.
Okay.
Anybody that wants to go immediately to the book, there's the QR code that will take you right to the book on Amazon.
Oh, I love that. You know, if you could get those cards made up, maybe and put it in the business card section down in the lobby.
I didn't know we had a business card section in the
It's just
lobby.
it's just a glass dish that's down by the flower arrangement in the lobby as you come into the Anacapa, vintage at Anacapa. And that might be, you know, a way for people to find out more, you know, about your book that way. Hopefully they'll find out about it here.
I'm trying to think. Maybe I have 1,000 cards. You think that might be too much?
That's too much. How about maybe 5 or 10, but that's yeah. That was great. Wonderful. Yeah, so who's taking care? Amazon is taking care of everything, right? Sending it out and everything if people order it through Amazon. Are you at Barnes and Noble at all or any of the bookstores?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Wonderful.
Yes, indeed. They will order it. You have the QR code, they'll order it for you and send it to you.
Wonderful.
But you don't have to have the QR code. You can just go straight to Amazon and they handle it. But I didn't send it to Amazon. I had someone that did it for me.
Yeah, you had an agent.
Yeah. Okay.
A writer's agent.
Yeah.
Right.
So I gave her the manuscript and she went through it and kind of cleaned it up a little here and there. And I think the hardest part of writing the book was the title. It took me several weeks to figure out what the title was going to be, because it's a book that has several pages. Let's say the whole book has, I forgot what it is. Hold on a second. 292 pages.
Okay.
And
what got you started though? How did you find her? Were you just reading articles or how did she present to you? How did you find her? How did you get there?
I was working for Hertz at the airport. And I know it seems like a non sequitur, but it really isn't. We would ride together in this van and go move cars from one airport to another, or pick up cars and move them around. And almost everyone that worked in that capacity had another side gig that they did because Hertz didn't pay you enough. And I was sitting next to this guy and he asked me what my side hustle was. And at that time, I was in the middle of writing a murder mystery. And I told him, and he said, well, I know a book you should write. And I said, really? What is it about? And he said, a woman that lived in Oxnard in the 20s, 30s, and 40s that got sent to jail because she wasn't a she. And I said, oh, of what? This was back, oh, let's see, when would that have been? 19,
Well,
I guess about 1997, 98, something like that. And this whole transgender type of thing had never even been,
surfaced, yeah.
no, yeah.
Mhm.
And there probably were several people
Mhm.
back then that kept it quiet if they were. But Lucy, so far as anybody has been able to unearth, is the first Black female transgender ever recorded.
Certainly in the Oxnard area, that's for sure.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I'm excited now. It'll be interesting, and I do hope it gets made into a movie. That would be such a fun movie to watch.
It
Did she?
would be an interesting movie, that's for certain. There is there there are a few documentaries that are that have been already produced. So
Interesting. Yeah.
but our Sean and my intent is to make it more of a movie about her life and how she lived her life.
Right. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was just phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's great. You just turn yourself into a screenplay artist next, bring it to
I don't
life there.
I don't have any idea how to do that. It's hard enough
Uh,
doing a book. I
There's
can't do
actually,
it.
you can go online and there's actually a format. My daughter is a writer and there's a format for screenplay. She's written several plays that two of them actually got produced. So there's a
Lovely.
format and you just follow the format. It's great. You've got all the information in that brain of yours and with your research, and you would be able to just, he said, she said kind of a thing. The format is right there for you. And of course, it'll probably also get a little more help from an editor as well.
Sure.
And stage positions and things like that, lighting and stuff like that. Sometimes you want to put stuff like that in, which if you don't have that
I don't have
experience,
that knowledge or
yeah.
capability.
So an editor
Yeah.
can help you there as well too, or somebody that's in the screenwriting field could be your, not ghostwriter, but be a helper there. I'm excited. This is great. What fun. Wow.
It was fun writing it. I had to put my mind in a completely different place to be able to write it.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
It
some of the great
was,
writers are that way, that Stephen King goes to Maine and hides out in his cabin, and there's
yes.
a bunch of the poets and things, would go. I know one of them wrote underneath his, like Harry Potter, underneath the stairs in his house, so he wouldn't get disturbed by the kids running around and the wife. Yeah, a bunch of them, they had, I went and saw the remains of one up in Northern California, and I don't remember the name of the writer, but his house actually burned down, but he used to go to a little hut, a little outhouse, kind of a, little away from his house at like 3 a.m. He would go and write until 2 p.m. And I don't know if I could be married to something like that, but he I'll have to find out who he is. But yeah, you, as a writer, you need that. I know my daughter too. She was the same way. Needs her quiet time. She hated her husband bugging her. It was like, just leave me alone, go away, because you got
Yeah,
that inspiration and that flow. You don't want to lose it.
exactly. I used to wake up in the middle of the night and go, oh my goodness, I know exactly how to write that scene. Grab my computer and start writing. And it'd be like, I don't know, 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon before I would stop.
Wow.
So it was exciting. It took a long time to do it. And I'm certainly glad that I did. it was strange when I found out where she lived. She lived in Los Angeles. After all of this settled down, she went to live in Los Angeles. And
Oh.
I was raised in Los Angeles up until about the 8th grade.
So did she pass away in Los Angeles then?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
My daughter and I drove down to LA because I wanted to see where she lived, where her house was, what the environment was like around her. And my daughter said, "Mom, you're not getting out of the car, are you?"
Oh,
And I
yeah.
said, "Yes, I am. I'm going to go up and knock on the door and see who
Oh,
lives there."
oh gosh. Where
Come to
was
find
that?
out, in not the best part of Los
Was it the
Angeles.
hood, Crenshaw Boulevard and what, Obama Street, whatever it is, that whole area?
No,
Okay.
I liked the area. My dad lived very close to where that house was.
Mhm.
So I was raised in that general vicinity. And I walked up to the door, and here was, well, I knocked on the door, and the person opened the door. It was a little short black lady, shorter than me, even. A little short black lady standing in the door. And I introduced myself, told her I was writing about a book about Lucy, and I understood Lucy had lived in this house. And she stood there absolutely astonished. And she said, Lucy Hicks? Did I hear you say that right? And I said, "Yes, ma'am." Oh, gracious. She flew that door wide open and grabbed me and pulled me into her house.
Oh,
And she said, "This was Lucy's house. I lived right next door to her. And when she died, I bought this house because I loved it so much."
that's amazing.
You think
Holy
that's
cow.
amazing? You should read the ending of the book.
Okay, don't give it away. That'd be great. Well, I thank you for this. This is wonderful and what fun. Now we have something to look forward to. I'm so glad you came on and let us know about this. And we'll look forward to the screenplay.
Yes, and
If
if you want, there is a great article by Times Magazine. They wrote it after they discovered what Lucy was. The title is Sin, Sin, and Souffle. It's a great article.
LA Times, what was it in?
The LA Times Magazine, Times Magazine.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's great.
All you have to do is put in the browser "sin and souffle" and it'll pop right up
Yeah.
with
Well,
my
thank
name
you.
beside it. No, I'm kidding. No, I
Okay.
was kidding.
Well, thank you, Sandy. Sandy Moore,
Thank you, Bowie.
and Linked Lives, our resident writer. Thank you so much.